What's up guys, this is Concrete Breakdowns. This is a segment of my video, Can You KO Scarface from StreetBeefs. This segment is about the habits, attributes and fight style of StreetBeefs president, Scarface. Make sure you like and subscribe. Enjoy the video. Every person's fighting style is unique to them, and Scarface has put many years of work into developing his own. Let's take a look at what exactly Scarface does in that cage and who Scarface is as a fighter. It should be obvious at this point, but I want to reiterate the fact that there are levels to fighting. So when I, for example, tell you Scarface carries big power, I mean in comparison to his general opposition in StreetBeefs and not compared to, say, Deontay Wilder. As a fighter, I describe Scarface as a slugger with good composure, who mostly uses powerful swings to control the fight. Scarface is a boxing-oriented fighter, even when he fights kickboxing or MMA. One of the main problems Scarface runs into is his lack of mobility. He's usually the more plodding, slower fighter. This might be because of a knee injury he has sustained in the fight years back. But no one mistook him for Lomachenko in his earlier fights either. Scarface is simply not a bouncing on the feet, in and out fighter. There are plenty of fighters who make a more plodding fight style work though. To deal with the mobility disadvantage, Scarface likes to corner his opponents. He commits to a right hand to the body or to the head to drive opponents backwards, with the back to the cage/ropes. After this initial shot, he follows up with something big to do the damage. By not allowing the opponent any room to step back, Face can force his opponents into exchange and find ways to land his power shots. Face is a strong guy with a heavy punch. He's not the snappiest puncher, but he likes to swing and put a lot of weight behind his shots. He prefers wide punches that can swing around opponents' guards. We haven't seen many fighters take clean shots from Face that kept on fighting. His favorite shots are the overhand right and the left hook. Scarface's power allows him to slow down the pace of the fights he's in. If opponents commit to longer combinations, they run the risk of getting hit by one of Scarface's home run swings. Scarface tends to win gunslinging contests. This is why a lot of recent fights of Scarface don't include stoppages. Opponents realize they can't commit to combinations and usually accept a slower paced fight from the outside, where they keep themselves safe with their movement. One of Scarface's best attributes is his composure. His body language does not get shifty under fire. Even his facial expressions while fighting are calm, almost sleepy even. One of the best ways to beat Face would be to target his gas tank. He has a stoppage loss to White Dragon, where he just got too tired to keep on fighting. I think there was an injury also in play, but I'm not sure. The reason why other fighters aren't finding the same path to victory is because it's hard to crack Face's composure. He takes shots well and it's hard to force him to work. Something you'll notice in Scarface's fights is that his back is very rarely to the cage. This is because Scarface is pretty aware of his position in the cage. Probably in part due to his own reliance on the cage to get in his damage. When Scarface gets a distance close on him, he usually swings, and on a miss he'll wrap up the opponent. This way he doesn't have to give up any ground. Scarface actually has a knack for wrapping up heads. He hit this beautiful standing arm in guillotine in one of his MMA fights. For defense, Scarface mostly uses the Philly shell, a defensive boxing technique made famous by Money Mayweather. By tucking his head behind his lead shoulder, Face can protect his head from incoming shots. His lead hand is low to protect his body and his right hand is ready to parry or strike. This type of defense is very well suited for a top-heavy, well-composed fighter like Scarface. It allows him to block incoming strikes and fire back without needing to rely on quick trunk movement or speedy footwork. Scarface has a tendency to commit extremely heavy to landing shots at times, recklessly abandoning his defense and balance to land a shot. The benefit of this is that he can land hard shots in the chaos that he would otherwise not have landed. Seeing an opponent being willing to commit like that can also put a fighter in more of a defensive shell, afraid of the repercussions of opening up. Opponents haven't managed to counter Face that often, but the drawbacks for this tactic for Face has been mostly his balance. Face often falls over while swinging for the fences. And falling might not seem like a big deal in a boxing match, but it does when you're relying on cornering your opponent like Face is. Just when Face has cut off the cage and is in a position to do damage, he often loses his balance and with it his advantageous position. Street beef fights are outside, and with a fall there's often dirt that needs to be wiped off the gloves. With this break in action, all the pressure you have been building up slips right between your fingers. Scarface is practically the same fighter in his MMA bouts as he is in his boxing matches. The benefit he has in his MMA fights is that he can actually hold people in one place on the ground and land the heavy ground and pound shots. His power translates well to ground and pound. He's familiar with the basics of wrestling, so getting Face down and choking him out might not be as easy as you might think. To summarize, Face is not a phenom of an athlete or a beautiful technician, but he's a veteran fighter with some tricks up his sleeve. If you don't mind your P's and Q's, he'll crack you in the head.